I am Mary Cole, and this is my presentation on different instructional and management strategies to use for students identified as gifted. So the first strategy is curricular compacting. This is a technique designed to make the curriculum adjustments for the student. So compacting means you might make it smaller. I picture this as doing a unit more quickly for the student based on their pace and needs. So the pros are there would not be wasted time. The student's going to get their needs met, and it should be as engaging, and there's not going to be less likely for that child to get bored or have behavioral issues. The cons would be it's going to take differentiation, so I'm sure it's bad to say that's a con, but that's something that takes time and planning, and it's not going to be right for all learners at the same pace. You need something planned. If this compacting goes quickly, you need something for the child to do next. And why is this good for the gifted learner? Gifted students are likely to get bored if we do not meet their needs and if we just ask them to do something that they already know. So this is an important thing to do to not really waste their time in the classroom. The next strategy is an independent study. Subject matter that the children choose to study about, they have the opportunity to engage in advanced studies and different research methods. This gives students the ability to be in charge of their learning. They get to pick something that they want to learn about, not just what they're forced to learn about. Cons, it could take time and you need to have the right materials. Make sure you have something they can research the technology or the books on their level that they can use. Why is this good for the gifted learner? Again, it meets their needs, it'll keep them engaged, it's not a way for them to get bored in the classroom, learning skills they already have. The next strategy is interest center or groups, building skills focused on an area that's a common interest in the groups. I find this is a big pro for gifted students because they often don't have peers that are like-minded in the classroom, depending on how the school groups things. So for them to find a group with a similar interest is going to be a good way for them to work on their social skills and networking. Con, again, just making sure you have the materials for that interest group, making sure you have the technology available. But other than that, it's a great strategy. And why is this important? For the gifted learners, it's going to keep them focused, it's going to keep them engaged at school. Tiered assignments, tasks on different levels, on different complexities. Usually you might, kind of like an I do, we do, you do scenario. This would be very good for gifted learners who are twice exempt, who might need more support than others. I don't really have a con for this. I think tiered assignments are really great for the classroom, especially when you have different learners at all levels. So this meets the needs of all the learners in the classroom, and that's the why. Learning centers are usually practice centers, a skill that's already been learned. They're independent. It's good because the pro is all children are engaged, and they're very easy to differentiate. A learning center, there could be different expectations or different tasks, and they can be clearly labeled for the learners at different levels. Cons at my level, I teach first grade, they need to have independence to do this. If they're not fluent readers and they can't read directions, if they struggle in working independently, these become challenging. So why is this good for learners? Because of the differentiation, because of how easy it is for them to be doing something different that meets their needs. The next strategy is varying questions that are on different complexity levels. Pro, you're questioning them at the highest level. Varying questions would have some open, some closed, some at a lower complexity, some at a higher complexity. I've used an app where you program all your students' names, and then you might say some indicators about them so it tells you what kind of questions to ask that child, whether they're ELL and you need more of the who, what, when, where, why questions, or if they are advanced learners and more of the higher level thinking why and compare questions. Cons, You need to plan for them. These aren't things that always just come into mind. This is something you need to be prepared as a teacher with higher order thinking questions. And this is good for the learners because they need to be asked different questions. They need to be challenged. This is what they need in the classroom. Mentorships and apprenticeships are getting tutored in a craft that you would like to learn. I've never seen this with students at my level, but this is a great thing because it would prepare them for their future. I just think a negative is that it's not really appropriate at like a first grade level. I don't know. I guess it would have to be a club type setting, or I can't picture this at my level, but definitely along the road in middle school and high school, this would be great. It prepares them for the future is my why to use this. It prepares them for career and college readiness. And the last strategy is contracts. So a contract is a written agreement with specific terms. For a gifted learner, that would be specific terms for an assignment. These contracts usually have choice. There's usually, if it's a reading contract, there's a book, and then there's choices of the different assignments. This takes a lot of work, a lot of preparedness to meet those needs, but it is engaging. They get to choose. Choice is a very powerful thing, and it's going to keep them working on those different learning goals while doing something they're interested in, and they got to be the kind of their own manager on. This also takes a lot of check-in and time from teachers to make sure it's being done right and they're on task. So those are the management strategies and the pros and cons that I see and why I feel that they are good for gifted learners.